Hello, welcome back. Hope you have a nice break. Let's start with let's come back to our studio. Share application studio. Yes. Okay. Before was a question asking why null was returned when we type. If we want to remember the argument of a function, we type args and the function that the function was round. Oops. So we get the return of this of args function is the function itself, and also returns null. If mm, a question was asked why this null is returned, and the thing is, I didn't in the it's explained in the documentation, but maybe at the beginning it's not clear. If we go to the documentation, they said that the value, the return value, is the function, but with a null body. So if we go down to the documentation, there is a sample here that said, as explained before, args gives a function with empty body. So we can copy and paste this sample. Not sure if this is entirely copied, no? Okay, now should be copied. What it does is, well, takes if it's a function and body, okay, let's execute that. And the returning of this of args is a function that is ask is a function answer they said the true, and the body, well, this is a new if you want to see the body of a function, the returns null. So that's why is that's the it wasn't explained in the documentation, but yeah, it's a little bit you need to read like with some time the documentation. Also was a question, another question, if it was possible to append elements to a vector using a function. And I read that there is a, yes, there is a function called append, but it's not the, is, how is, okay, we have a, let me remember, we have a this, okay, we have a 50, and I think the function is if we use append, we have the, well, there we have the help, that is x, that is the vector, that is a weight rounds, and we can append 150, for instance. Okay, and the return is like the vector with the 150 appended, but this is the output of the function. If I print again the vector, you will see that the vector doesn't contain this. So in order to save that, you need to use a wait arms and append. And in that case, yes, the output will be appended to the. But yes, so you can use either append, or I think also if you type append, you will have here. Yeah, I think here you will have like yeah more arguments. Yes, several examples of. Okay, this function is convenient because what we have done before is we append either to the end of the vector or to the beginning of the vector. But here you can specify after, and you can append a value after the third element, for instance. So that's yeah, that function is useful to know. Yeah, the append function is more complex because I mean, rather than imagine that you want to append, let's try to append 120, and we want like this vector to be in order. So the way to do that will be append 50. Well, we will append 120 after, and I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's try and see. Yes, that case, add 120 after the sixth element. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the element number 6 is 100. So you append the 120 after that. So yeah, that was thanks for the question, because yeah, that function is a useful one to know in case that you want to insert elements between. Okay, so well, regarding the before going to for the break, was a question how we get when an element is repeated, how we can get several elements. We have the vector more animals, that we have several instances of dog, two of fox, cat, bird, and you can say, okay, I want to get the animals that are either dog or either a cat. So you can do more animals, square brackets, and animals, sorry, more animals equal dog, or more animals equal cat. So you get that. That is also another way that this is using the function in. Function in. Okay, we have mm, more animals, and we want the ones that are like a dog and cat. So we use the percentage symbol in, so more animals in, and we need to provide a vector with the elements that we want. So we want dog, and we want the cat. So if I execute that, what I get is that the first element is either a dog or a cat. The second element is false, not true, true, false, etc. And as we have said before, we can use that as an has index to get the elements that we want from this. So if we do more animals, square brackets, and this, I will copy and paste. You get the elements that are either a dog or a cat. So that's I mean, it's important to know here you can use, if you use an ampersand, is and, so these two conditions should be true. You can use or, that this is like a bar as well. And there is a question if it would work in a matrix. I think I will say so, but maybe later we can see another sample because now I not yeah, we can see an example later. That's a good question, but I will say so that that works with matrices. But I prefer to see that with an example. So yeah, we can see one of them later. Uh, okay, so this is regarding vectors. Do you have any other questions? Not, we'll start with what we were talking before about missing data. And yes, we can also, yeah, please feel free to ask any questions during in the chat, and yes, I'll answer them, no problem at all. Okay, missing data. We were talking yesterday that, for example, for some weights of, well, now in the documentation they talk about the height. We may miss some recordings. We we could have some measurement for some. Let's keep talking about animals, but for others we don't have that value. So in R, the way to define that is to use NA, and we'll see that now. Okay, let's create a new vector. This is called height, and the arrow again, and create the vector, and the vector will contain 2, 4, 4, an element, well, element, something that we don't know, but is rather than a blank, we will type NA and 6. So we have that, and if we print height, we see that we have 5 elements, 2, 4, 4, and A, that is, yeah, like not, mm, yeah, no, it's not something that we don't know, 6. But you should be well careful because, well, for example, if you want to get the maximum of these elements, so you have a function that is called maximum, max, well, called max, and well, there you see in the yellow window, I think you can. Oh no, well, now you don't see that, but let's max. Okay, now you see this yellow window. You see, but by default, there is a argument that is na dot rm equal false. We will know why we have that argument by defaulting false. Okay, so let's get the maximum element of height. This is here. And the maximum element will be, I think, yeah, 6. Let's see if that's, oops. We get that output because the 1, 2, 3, the fourth element is undefined. So we don't know if it's bigger than 6, smaller than 6. So that's why you get that output. In case that you can get rid of this NA, in case that you want to get the maximum. And the way to do that is, for example, in this function, we can use the maximum height, and we can use na.rm. So it's like a, well, Okay, there you get the explanation. A logical indicating whether missing values should be removed. So we will say true. So before doing the maximum, uh, remove the values. So when we execute that, we get that the maximum now is 6 because this missing value is not taken into account. Also here in the documentation, there are three explanations, well, three explanations, like three ways to remove these values because as you have already shown before, for instance, to append a value, we can use a different, we can use we can create a new vector with a new value. We can use the function append. There are different ways, and also for the height is the same. If we want to get rid of them, we have three choices. Just pick the one that you prefer or you it's easier to remember. We can use well, there is a first of all there is a function that is called is.na, and you can give a vector. So if we use height, oops. Also did explain when you start typing something and you press tab, you get the like the if there is only one choice, you get this autocomplete. So let's execute that, and you see force, 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 true, force. So we have learned before, but that we can use that as an argument well, to index a vector. So I can use height, square brackets, the negative that is using the exclamation mark. I mean, in the previous function, oops, okay. In the previous function, if we use that, we get the opposite. We get a true, 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 false, true. That is the thing that we want for this. So it's height, square brackets, exclamation mark, is.na, and the vector height. Oops. No. And we get the vector without the the missing elements. Another way, you can use na.omit height. Okay, we got a lot of yeah, you get a lot of output. Yeah, and also the other is there is another function that is called complete cases that also gets rid of the height. So you can use a height complete cases height, and you get oh, why? Yeah, this one is like gives you a lot of output. So yeah, you can use one of these cases that yeah, the NA omit gives you a lot of is this in the execute? Okay, here you have also yeah documentation handle missing values in objects, and you have all of these exclude or omit. I think omit returns the the value of the vector, but also returns like a more I think returns the number of elements. Is like a more complete. Yeah, you see that none is because we can see also in the yeah which elements are missing and also the differences in the I think it's a uh, is the yeah it's different. NA means that the data is missing, but if we use NaN, that means not a number. That this is, for example, when we divide something by zero, or when we get something that is not a number. So that's different. That what we are talking here is about missing data. So it's for this missing data we need to use NA. But yeah, that's yeah good to bear in mind. Okay, I think in the here. Uh, shall we? Okay, let's do this before moving on. We have time to do this challenge. That is in this line. I think it's in line 135. I'm not sure if maybe you have written something else. But the challenge is using this vector of height in inches, create a new vector with the n is remove. So you can use one of the three functions that we have used before. And also you can use the function median to calculate the median of the height vector. And also the third part of the challenge is the figure out how many people in the set are taller than 67 inches. So yes, you can do this challenge and let me know when you are done. I will copy the challenge here in the, let's see if that works. Ah, not bad. So yeah, please let me know when you're done with exercise and we can continue. And also, yeah, you can play with this, what we have seen so far. I see there is an interesting question in the chat saying that I think it's yeah for the ampersand for the comparison, if it's lazy or strict, and if saying if it is possible to get the opposite one. I think uh, the evaluation, I would say that this is a lazy. Let me show you. For example, if we have if true. Okay, okay. I wanted to put the sample like something like this. If true on weight is larger than 50, 40, for instance, uh, because this part is true, uh, yeah, doesn't evaluate this, goes to the, but I'm not sure the, Ah, okay, I know what you mean. Yeah, okay, the you can do force and I think that this is they do a lazy evaluation. I think the R is sometimes is a little bit, some things are similar, is similar to C, and I think that's a lazy evaluation. So because this is false and there is an ampersand, this is not evaluated because it doesn't matter the output of this, that the result of this condition is false. I'm not sure if makes sense to have a strict evaluation of that, or I mean, I don't know now. I don't find the sample, so mm, not sure if Tim, if you can, I don't know. I'm not sure if that answers your question of yeah, we can discuss it further, or we can find an example where it could be like useful to have a strict evaluation. But I think in order to save say time and energy is do a lazy evaluation. Okay, so let's continue with the challenge. So I see that yeah, the okay, the challenge clearly said create a new vector. So we can comment that. Control Enter. Now we get a new vector. If we type height, yes, we see that we have this bunch of numbers. The median is okay. We can create the use median height. Yeah, complaint that contains we can say na.rm. I think is true. Okay, the median is 64. And how many people in the set are tore down? So we can use height, square bracket, and the same height. They said taller down. Let me check the 67 inches. So we have all of them. Okay, again, because this is like we are using, if we want to get rid of the NA, we can use, mm, okay, what can I use? Well, mm, here I can use yeah, no, okay, the ampersand height. I think is, let's see if that works. NA. Oops, no. Uh, okay, I don't know what that. I got this vector. I can say, I think it was an a dot omit. Let me check if that works. Length 6. Okay. What I have done, I got the heights that are higher than 67. Then I use an a dot omit to get rid of these values, and also user length. So 6 people are taller than 67. Well, people, yeah, let's see, yeah, people. So that's a way to solve. There are many other ways to solve this exercise. Okay, so now we have seen the intro, and now we will play a little bit more with uh, with more advanced concepts in R. We will start using the tidyverse library. So yesterday, what we have done is we got okay. Yesterday, what we did was we got a CSV file that has a result after cleaning the data and getting the data as we want. We generate a CSV file, and what we will well, today we will not use that file. We will use a similar one that is already clean. So let's start with the first of all. We needed to download the file. And to download, there is a function that I'm not sure if this is here in the. Of course, it's not here in the code handout, but I will copy that function for you in the. Let me copy the chat. Yeah, this is the function. So that function is you download the file and has two parameters. The first one is where the file is, and the second one is the file. But I think it will fail because no, that will fail because it's remove the okay. Yes, you need to copy this, but I place a space between this bar and download it. But you remove this space and the download should work. I will copy that here. Let me see if that works. I will copy this. Sorry, this. Mm, you need to remove this space. So if you execute that, you see that yeah, you download the file that is almost 3 megabytes. And if you open that folder, you see that you have this portal data join. Okay, so let's and now to open that file, what we'll do is we will first we need to load the library that we will use. That the library is called tidyverse. So if we do library and the name that is tidyverse, takes yeah, because actually that library is a set of libraries. So that's why when you at the beginning you install that library, it takes a long while to install everything and loads a lot of Here we have this message that is the attaching packages because the data library tidyverse loads all of these libraries. ggplot2, that this is for plotting, that we will see that tomorrow. tibor, that this is the matrix of type of data that we will use now. You have a tidyr, readr, you have all of these libraries. And also there was a question before, uh, conflicts. They said that you have these conflicts, that the filter, mask filter, what that means. Uh, we have a library called stats that before loading this, if we execute a filter, will execute stats. You have like a double column. That means here you specify the library name, and here you specify the function name. So before was execute a filter, but now that we have loaded tidyverse, if you execute only filter, it will execute deploy filter rather than stat filter. If you want to keep using that stat filter, you need to type the whole function, I mean package name, colon, the function name. But well, this will not be used for now, so we can. Okay, so we have the tidyverse loaded, and what we will do is we will save in. We will create a variable called surveys arrow that this is this, and we will use read underscore CSV. So you see that in the here we have a different we have a and read underscore CSV, and also we have a read dot CSV. But what we are using here is underscore CSV because that function is from the tidyverse library. If we use read.csv, is from the, let's say, utils or standard library, and will be different. This one is much more efficient. So if we use that, also the number two is because it depends on the delimiter. For example, read CSV2 use rather than a comma, use a semicolon because this could be used, for example, in English, the decimal part, we use a point, a dot. But in other languages, let's say, for example, in Spanish, you have, for example, the decimal part, you use a comma. So use CSV will not be the best for in that cases you use to delimiter these fields, you use a semicolon, or also you can use tabs, you can use read underscore tsv, that is a tab separate value. That is another function that is called read delim, that you can specify more. But okay, for this case, let's use this one. And I need to specify where the file is. The file is we have our folder data underscore row slash portal. Okay, so if I tab, everything is written in there. So when I execute that, okay, what I will do is I will make this a little bit bigger, and you can see better We get the column specification of for this file we have the record ID, that this is the unique ID for the observation. We have a month, day of year, that this is the for the date of the observation. We have the plot ID, so we have a species ID, that is like a two-letter code. We have the sex, that is we have a 2M or F. We have a hind foot length in millimeters, the weight in grams, genus, species, the taxonomy, if it's a rodent, reptile, bird, rabbit, and the type of plot. For example, we see that this information, what I said before, we can create another file that explains what is in this CSV file. Like we can say what I have said now before, what I have said now before. We can, but yeah, this is more or less the what we can do is we can see the beginning, that is head surveys. And for example, here is the data is presented in a better way. I mean, the tabs here works better. So we have the record ID, month, day, year, plot ID, species ID, sex, and also what is how detects, because they detect that the column is a double character. Uh, you start what the function does is it reads the first lines of the first 1000 rows of the CSV file and guess if the data is a double, is a character. Also, if you want, you can specify that at the moment that you load this file. Also, we print a head surveys that where you see that not all the columns are printed. Because of that is set that here with 6 more variables that you have here. Double character. You can also use print, the function print. You can print surveys, and you can say that the number of rows that you want to print is 50. And you get all of these. For example, for this, for the sex, we have some of them that is missing data. That is that contains 34,736 rows and 6 more variables. Yeah, so it seems that there is a question that if we use a wildcard to load yeah, in this case, yeah, it doesn't work. We need to specify the name of the file. Okay. Also, we can open if we are using, well, okay, if you're using only the command line, you cannot do that, but because we are using RStudio, we can open the file, well, sorry, see the variable using the RStudio data viewer. That this is we use view surveys. It will open here on top. We will have like a kind of similar to Excel, and we have a record ID, month, day, year. Here is in a better format in case that we want to have a quick look of the. Also, the missing data is like in a gray color, no? So yeah, that's fine in case that we want to see like make it the most of this of our study. So I mentioned before that when we load the teddy bears, we load several libraries, and one library is called table. That this is a special kind of data frame uh, because when we read the CSV, the variable that well when we print in header surveys, this mentioned that what it returns a table. That this is like a type of data frame. That this is like a kind of um, data frame. How to say? Kind of it's like a proof. I mean, it's in the definition. Let's say that is not the best, but it's like an improved version of a matrix. Like you have a each you have several columns that have names, a record ID, month, day, year, and you have all these elements of this of for each column. Uh, you can see the structure if you use str surveys. Here you see all of these. Well, see that is yeah that table data frame, and you see for each. Let's see if that could make this. Yeah, let's make this bigger. You see for each column, you see what is have numbers, characters. We have also the number of elements, number of rows, the number of columns, 13. And also we have a little bit, some of the record IDs, some of the months. So we can see a little bit about the content of this. And also more, we can see more about the specification if it's a, a double of a character. So yeah, STR is a structure in in R. And there are a lot of there are a lot of functions that we can see to see what a surveys is. So that is a data frame, but we can use dim surveys, and we get the number of rows and the number of columns. But also we can, if we are interested only on the number of rows, we can use n row surveys. Or if I write like this, and call surveys for the number of columns. To get the first 6 rows, we can use a head. We can use a tail for the last six rows. If we are interested in the column names, we can. There are two ways we can use names surveys, and you get all of the column names, And I think it's possible to do surveys. No, there is no, the function is called names. Okay, names are called names. And also you can, but what in this case I think we don't have a, there is like the row names. But I'm not sure if that will make too much sense, because the row names, what we get is the number of because in this case we don't have defined row names. I mean, the function that makes sense is either names or call names, that we get the columns of the yeah, I think I'm not sure if we have already executed summary surveys. Okay, here we use summary. You get a lot of information about. Mm, let's go to weight. You get the minimum weight is 4. The median is 37, the mean is 42, maximum, the number of missing elements. You get that statistics for each column. That is a challenge that is already solved. That is the fact that when we str surveys to identify the number of rows or number of columns, that these are at the beginning. Number of rows are here, number of columns are here, 13, and the type of the type that we is a data frame, that is here. Um, okay, so what else we can use? We can see a data frame like a huge matrix. Let's say it's a let's say a little has more features, but to get elements from from this data frame, we can use the matrix notation. Let's say we have a surveys, and if we want the first element of the first, I mean the first row on the first column, we specify here first row 1 and first column, and we get that. We get that the first column is record ID. The first row is 1. We can get from the sixth column, and we get a species ID. We get this. Can get, I don't know, from the fourth. Well, in this case it doesn't change, but okay, now it's changed. It's a DM rather than NL. Also, mm, that there are plenty of mm, because well, okay, that's when when I use for example surveys 306, I got the output is a table of one per one, that is like a one row and one column. I get the output is another data frame, but if in case that I want the element rather than the data frame, I need to use a double another. I I need to yes, to use a double square bracket. So if I use that, you see that the output is different. Rather than getting a table, I get the element itself. So you should remember, yes, to use a double square bracket. Also, you can get the whole row or the whole column, that is surveys. Imagine that you want the first column or the first row. You get first row and the column, because we want all of them. We don't specify anything. So if I execute that, I get a data frame table of 13 columns with the first row. And the same with the columns. We can say, okay, I want all rows of the first column. So I get a data frame of a lot of rows and one column. Also, I can get different columns, different, for example, I can get, if I use a C, the first and the second column, sorry, the first and second row of the first column, so I get that. And also I can use, we haven't seen that before, but that is another way to specify a range of, let's see if that will, yes. So to specify a range is you can use the column symbol. So in the previous, what I have introduced is 1, and give me a range of numbers with 7 as well. So I mean, from 1 to 7, give me all the natural numbers. So you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can do the same for well, to get the surveys, in case that you want to get the first 3 rows. You can use that notation. I think, let me check if you use that. No, it's yeah, the increments are 1. I think this is I think in Python you can specify that, and the increments are 2, but yeah, I know. It seems that is not the same in R. Also, okay, we have seen how to include the elements, but we can exclude the elements. Imagine that okay, if we execute the surveys, we get all of these record ID, etc. But okay, we are not interested in record ID for our study. Let's keep using surveys, but without the record ID. So I can type surveys. Yes, I want all rows, but I don't want the first column. So if I type -1, you see that now instead of having 13, I get 12 columns. So it's not also I can get yes, this is the mainly to but okay, we have seen that we were talking about the first column, last column, but What about if I want to get I want to get let's say the genus or species rather than I can use the name instead of the so if I mm, use a surveys square brackets and I specify the name species ID, the name of the column, I can that's why I said that this is like a matrix but with more functionality because you can get the column using the name rather than using the index, and we get a table. Again, if we want to get the a vector, I need to use a double uh, another square brackets. I execute that. Okay, I got this big vector. There is a question in the chat that print have print different. Let me check print surveys. I'm not sure if I understand the question. I'm if the I mean here, for example, we got this message that when I print, because the vector is quite big, is 32,000, more than 32,000 rows. I get you can print more, but this is like the get option max print. As you see that this there are more columns for so if I do print surveys, I get this. Let's do a head surveys. Ah, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. That you get mm, wait, change all rows. If you notice here, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's because of the here you get when you do head surveys, you print a table that is you get the first 6 rows and 13 columns. And when you print the surveys, you get all rows and 13. Let's try and see and do print surveys n equal 6. For example, in that case, you get the same output as head. I think this is I think it's because here you try to you print more rows and there is like a not maybe not enough space to and that's why in when you print the first 6. Yes, depends on the number of columns, but I think it's in the issue here is in the column 7, 8, 9. That is a name or that is something that maybe this column that is no space any longer for the last column. Yeah, it's something because I guess if I try 7, 8, okay, I think yeah. You see, if I print 10 elements, okay, if I print 9 elements, that's fine. But if I print 10, seems that this column, yes, is not there is not a space for that column anymore. Don't know why. Maybe it's because it's getting. Don't know. Okay, let's keep going. Mm, okay, there is a small mm, challenge here that we can do. I will paste that in the chat. So the challenge is that create a data frame Service 200 containing only the data in row 200 of the service dataset. So if you can paste the solution in the chat. So yeah, exactly. The to get the if uh, yeah, I thought the same. If we want the exercise header containing only the data in row 200. So for example, in that case, we need to execute this. At the beginning, I thought that was like the first 200, but yeah, it's a little bit confusing. If we execute that, we get, well, okay, we need to print surveys 200. And okay, we got yeah, another data frame with a one. But oops, I think that that is something. Hello again. Seems that there was something, yeah, something weird with my connection. I will share again the screen. I got a notification that something was wrong. Not sure. I don't know why. Why? Let's share again uh, okay, so what I thought at the beginning of the exercise, thank you. At the beginning, when I read the exercise, I thought that was the first 200 rows. In that case, we need to use, we can use that. We use from column, sorry, from row 1 to row 200, we can get these and these two. Yes, let's see that and see the output. And yes, I got we see that we got a data frame of 200. To finish today, because we are close to the end, I would like to introduce factors, and in case that there are any questions, we can continue tomorrow. But okay, let me check, or maybe, because I think tomorrow. Let me check because I think. Okay, I see that we are close to the end, so I think it's better to. I mean, I would like the thing that I wanted to I wanted to talk about factors that I think is better if we start them tomorrow and we finish earlier. It's up to you. And also we can use this time if in case that you have any questions, because to explain factors will takes a while, and I'm not sure if we will have enough time to. No, I prefer to spend some time on that. Yes, let's because tomorrow. Yes, let's has been a lot of things today, and I think it's a better. So okay, yeah, tomorrow we can continue. Also, we 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 can we have a tomorrow we have enough time to finish the lesson and see everything with enough time. So don't worry about that. Yes. So any questions before we go for a deserved lunch? Okay. So seems that no. Thanks once again for joining today, and we'll tomorrow we continue seeing more features about R. And also, if you have any questions, you please bring them tomorrow, and we'll solve them. Thank you, and yes, have a nice rest of the day. Bye for now.